going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jeckwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is my review of, well, revisited review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Of course, I did my initial review when the movie came out, but this is part of my MCU and DCEU series. So I'm coming back. I had to watch it again, and coming back with a fresh take. So directed by Peyton Reed. You have Paul Rudd coming back as Scott Lang, Ant-Man, Evangeline Lilly returning as Hope Van Dyne. This time she becomes the Wasp officially. Michael Douglas returns as Hank Pym. Michelle Pfeiffer is introduced as Janet Van Dyne. You have Michael Pena as Lewis, David Dastmalchian as Kurt, Tip T.I. Harris as Dave. You introduce Hannah John-Kamen as Ava Star or Ghost. They do take some big liberties with Ghost as a character in the movie. Lawrence Fishburne as Dr. Bill Foster. Langston Fishburne, I thought, was interesting as young Bill Foster. Walton Goggins is Sonny Birch, who is just this criminal guy, typical thug. Judy Greer comes back as Maggie, which was Paul Rudd's ex-wife. You have Abby Ryder Forston as Cassie Lang. And so here we meet Ant-Man when he is on house arrest. He's literally at the last few days of house arrest for his punishment for being involved in the events of Captain America Civil War. And so he's trying to just ride out the last few days, not getting any trouble. He can't wait to get his ankle bracelet off and be able to go out and do stuff with his daughter. He has limited visits with his daughter right now. And so he has, the FBI, they're keeping close tabs on him. And then he has a dream where he thinks that he connected with Janet Van Dyne, which is Hank Pym's wife or ex-wife. And so he calls Hank Pym, and he's talking about the dream. And the next thing he knows, he passes out and wakes up in a car with Evangeline Lilly's character, Hope Van Dyne. And their whole purpose is to be able to go into the quantum realm and pull Janet back out. Unfortunately, there are complications here because Ghost shows up. Ghost knows, of course, all about Hank Pym's work because Dr. Bill Foster, played by Lawrence Fishburne, used to work with Hank Pym. And so she's trying to get the tech so that she can pull out Janet Van Dyne and somehow take the energy that Janet has from the quantum realm to heal her because she was in an explosion and there was part of an experiment and it had some effect on her that she can't stop phasing throughout the realms, the quantum realm and our realm. And so she's trying to fix herself because she's in constant pain and, she just wants to not feel pain anymore. Unfortunately, Sonny Birch was just a very generic character that could have been taken out of this movie altogether. Him and his cronies could have been taken out, and they could have done a lot more character building, I think, with this. Now, they did quite a bit with the Wasp, which I did like, and, we left off the first Ant-Man with Hope Van Dyne, pretty pissed off at her father, but they had just made up, and he decided to relent and let her become the Wasp. And so that's kind of where they pick up here. She is now the Wasp and just kicking ass. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is she's actually a really important character for the MCU because the Wasp was actually the leader of the Avengers in several iterations. So, most people might think of her as like a minor character here in the MCU, but comic fans know her as the leader. Like, she is the end all, really. So we'll see if they ever do anything like that in the movies, but I doubt it. So it was very much like the first one, and then it had a lot of laughs, sometimes some comical moments out of place. They had some very cool action scenes, more action than the first one for sure. More special effects in the action scenes as well, but I do think that took away from, again, character building and storyline, plot development. And so it does suffer in that regard. It's a very fun movie to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Some of the scenes are just really, really fun to look at. They really are. But they kind of made Scott Lang this time just an idiot. Like, they really, really made him kind of bumbling in this movie. Whereas in the original Ant-Man, he was incredibly smart, crafty, learned things very quickly. And so that was kind of a sad thing to see. Other than that, they eventually pull out Janet Van Dyne from the quantum realm. And then Janet Van Dyne somehow touches her hands to Ghost's temples and heals her from phasing. And there is no explanation as to how or why or where did that come from. It just happened, and everybody was like dumbfounded. And you could tell that was a bad idea because everybody still talks about it, even now in reviews. I've watched several reviews for the movie, and that's kind of one of the big complaints, is that they never take the time to explain that. And that's why I say that you could have taken the Sonny Birch character, completely eliminated him and his goons, focused on building up Ghost a little more, giving Ant-Man himself a little more, and then kind of fleshing out what happens with Janet Van Dyne and Ava Starr. I think that would have been very appropriate. So, overall, it was a fun movie, but it was not without its problems that I just mentioned. And those problems do take it down a notch. I have to give it a lower grade because of that. And so I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10, which is still a really fun movie. Definitely entertaining. Had a lot of good times with it. But at the end of the day, I wish they would have fleshed out a few things a little bit more. And this is one of those movies, again, where like when I initially watched it, I say that, I shut my brain off and I just go into a movie to enjoy it and have a good time at the movies. But as I watch something more and more, I pick it apart more and more. And honestly, sometimes it does come from watching other reviews too, and people will point things out that I haven't thought of, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And then if we watch it after that, then it really doesn't make sense. So that's just kind of where I'm at with Ant-Man and the Wasp. Oh, and stay tuned for the mid-credit scene. The mid-credit scene, man, very cool. You have Ant-Man doing some testing in the quantum realm, trying to get some energy from the quantum realm. And then he gets stuck there because Hope Van Dyne, Janet Van Dyne, and Hank Pym all poof and turn to ash from Thanos' snap. So that was really cool. So ladies and gentlemen, 7.5 out of 10. Still a really good movie. Definitely enjoyed myself. I just wish they would have fleshed some things out as far as character and plotline a little bit more. So that's where I'm at. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation, out.